Now Fernandez, Chief of the Government of Caracas and the Governor of the State of Cojedes, thank you for your presence, and I want to greet all of the mayors of the country that accompany us today. It is also present the Council of Vice Presidents, the ministers, in a revision of what the United Work means, and today we are installing the first Federal Council of Government of the year 2026. And I say that there is a good man, that the first thing that he said was, I am a prisoner of war and I am fighting. And with that example of that good man, of President Nicolás Maduro, of the dignity of the First Lady, first combatant Cilia Flores, with that example we have to battle for Venezuela. We cannot faint, brothers and sisters. We cannot give ourselves. We have today to do the battle for Venezuela. It is the most important battle that can happen to a citizen, to fight for their country, for their homeland. It is the most relevant in the trajectory of a citizen of a country. It is to feel like us Venezuelans feel proud of our history, of our liberators, to be the sons and daughters of Simón Bolívar. It is not anything, and I know it is not a simple thing, and I know that to President Maduro, the history of Venezuela accompanies him to give him strength and to continue in the fight from wherever he is for our country. And we have to do as much. We who are the public power in Venezuela. Here we have all the public power, the national power, the executive power. Here we have the regional executive power. We have the local executive power. Here we have the national power in all of its dimensions. And the call is to, as Venezuelan men and women of good, to be at the head, to be leading, and for us to be the first in taking our flag, in singing our glorious notes of the national anthem, to carry forward the battle for Venezuela. We have to be at the lead. And I would say that we have that honor in history to be able to write a page, a glorious page of our history, as it was done by our liberators. It is an honor. Not all the peoples have this honor. There are peoples whose governments have opted for slavery, have decided to be a colony, but those who have worked for the independence and the freedom and for our historical dignity, it is an honor to be able to be at the head of this battle. So, brothers and sisters, let's feel honored of this historical moment that the homeland is leaving. Let's feel with dignity to continue moving forward. There are many examples of our father liberator Simón Bolívar, of what it meant, the relationships, the international relationships. Today, by the way, we celebrate an important date. In 1891, for the first time, José Martí got to the port of La Guaira in Venezuela with his message of the big homeland, that homeland is humanity. And I want to use this opportunity to thank. Yesterday I talked with the president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, and the first thing that he transmitted to me was the condolences for the Venezuelan people, for the family members and the friends of our heroes that died in combat on January 3rd. The first thing that he transmitted was the condolences, he felt condolences that I also returned to him because 32 Cuban heroes died in that combat, but that they died for Venezuela, and they died for the concept and for the being of in unity, to feel ourselves sons and daughters of the big homeland. I thank for the call of President Díaz-Canel, because to be united in the just causes of Latin America animates us. And it also brings joy to our esteem as Venezuelan men and women. And it gives us the strength to continue together in this process that cannot be avoided, which is the unity of our peoples, the unity of the peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean, with a powerful force, as it was thought by Bolívar, as a great power, our United Nations together to be the example to those who have a different concept, which is a concept of expansionism, of hegemony, of imposing their vision through different ways and understanding and dialogue and diplomacy. You know, as we have said, that we are in a process of dialogue, of work with the United States without any kind of fear, to face the differences, the difficulties, the most sensible and the less sensible as well, to face them in the way of diplomacy. That makes us the sons and daughters of Simón Bolívar, who conceived it in that way, also facing the ideologists of the Monroe Doctrine. They lived in the same times, Monroe and Simón Bolívar. Today we have, through diplomacy, to raise those flags, and I am very pleased to be able to have this balance of Leonardo Montezuma, who is also at the head of the room of the national system of government, and who, together with the Secretary Vice President Jorge Marquez, who has the platform of the 1x10 of the good government, allows us to cross the information of all of the states of the country and to have a very clear vision towards where does our people see the public management of the mayors, of the governors, the management of the national executive. The 1x10 of the good government is a technological compass, but has there expressed the direct report of the citizens of what is happening, whether there's a hole but there's no light, or water or gas, or a surgery is necessary, and there we have already a complete system, which is the national system of the government, which is connected to the 5,300 rooms of the communal circuits. Here it is, the popular power. And it is extraordinary the way in which the actions of public investment in popular power have related, and in the mayor offices and the governor's office and in the national executive, all directed to the well-being of the people. Another objective cannot exist that is not the well-being of the Venezuelan people. It cannot be the mean or partisan interest. It must be the well-being of the Venezuelan people, and there we can say, that we are related, and that the popular power today in Venezuela is consolidating as an extraordinary mechanism of participative democracy, contemplated for the first time on the Constitution of 1999, that we had the progression of a representative democracy to the participational and protagonist democracy. And we can already say that from 2024 to 2025 we had 6 popular consultations that allowed us the execution of over 35,000 projects, and that has allowed, if you see how it has been the execution of the resources, and 96% the communal circuits, and 95% by the governations and 82% by the mayor's office. But in general, we are marching in the same rhythm that means to take well-being to the people of Venezuela in their different areas or transformations. The economical transformation, the transformation of human city, of security, of social protection, of ecology, of health, of the political power, which is what we are seeing today, the consolidated political power. Sometimes I listen, and one must listen that Venezuela needs to reinstitutionalize, and I believe that Venezuela has a lot of institution. Perhaps we might need to redirect. It is the extremist and fascist views of some sectors of the policy that it must be corrected from the roots. What we must reinstitutionalize is the responsible exercise of politics. Because truly, I believe that reinstitutionalize, we have many institutions. Even popular power has institutions. See this number. In the year 2025, there was 170 communal banks. Today we have 1,836. We are growing in the institutionality of the popular power. There's exercise. Each communal circuit have their room of government with representative spokesperson for each transformation. The mayor offices there. We have the mayors. In the governations, we also have the governors, and there's no voids or spaces. If one names the governor of the state of Cojedes, there is a governor there, and in Amazon as well, and Tati, the state of New Sparta, and also in the state of Bolivar, there they are at the head of the institutions. Where it has failed, and it has failed because we must say it is in the exercise of the politics, because there are sectors that are submitting themselves to exterior powers who are not thinking of national interests, but that historically have been projects compromised with the foreign interests, with foreign powers, and they have given their backs to Venezuela. And that is why they look for all of the ways to impose a deputy who was president of Venezuela. It has been of the most ridiculed pages and artificial and in the history of Venezuela. And then, well, what we have lived there, we must correct, we must intervene, and we must act. And I invite you. There is a political diversity of parties, and I invite you from the good heart for us to united work for the true democratizing of politics wherever we are, Venezuelan men and women, from our diversity, but with respect and without turning our backs to our homeland, to Venezuela. The only interest that may unite us is the interest of the well-being of the Venezuelan people, and for it to be, without no doubt, our independence and our sovereignty to preserve our territorial integrity. I say it with absolute responsibility, and soon in the next few hours we're going to be giving announcements in that direction of how to do with politics, with coexistence, of how we're going to face with tolerance, without hate or violence, the diversities and the lack of equalities in criteria, but it must be prevalent the respect and the right to the tolerance, which is a human right. And that is why here we legislate against hate and against intolerance, because we know that it can carry and it can lead to the burning to a human being in a in a plaza for their color of their skin or their political position. You see, extremism only takes to death, destruction, violence, and suffering. There's nothing positive nor on extremism or fascism. The countries that lived fascism in its cruelest way during the Second World War and later know what we are talking about. Where has fascism taken us to? Can someone tell me a good thing? Nothing. Where has extremism taken Venezuela? What have they asked for the Venezuelan people? What they have asked for is for an unprecedented economical blockade with no precedent in our Republican history. They have asked for invasion and everything. They have asked for military attacks. That is how it's been. Is there anything good in that? Can someone here tell me if there is something good? We're not going to find it, brothers and sisters, and that is why we have to work in this direction. Well, I am very pleased to see the balance, and I said in the presentation of the National Assembly on January 2nd, I had to check with the president a balance of 2025, and his expression was a miraculous year. And I can say to you that 2025 was a very good year for Venezuela. From the point of view of economy, it was a very good year. From the political point of view, it was a very good year. From the social point of view, to start healing the wounds of economical war, it is a good year, and we aspire for the year 2026 to be even better, and we know it will be as such. And for us to be able to accomplish the rescue of the president and of the first combatant, their objectives for this year 2026. But see, we have to talk about numbers, right? This year it is going to increase the resources expressed in currencies in a 37%. You're going to have more resources for your management that I know that you needed, because I have had the direction of the Federal Council of Government, and I am saying of at least 37%. You know that we have created two sovereign funds for the resources that come from new investments on energy and petroleum in Venezuela to go to those funds. The first sovereign fund, that is for the social protection, to improve the incomes of the workers, for health, for housing, for food, for education. The second sovereign fund is for public services and infrastructure, water, electricity, viality. But also the Federal Council of Government and the regions are going to have better incomes to be able to face the management. You are there in the territories, and for you to be able, together with the National Cabinet, to coordinate common actions to attend the most important challenges of our people. There's a load that we have to face that has been left by the blockade against our country, and we will inform everything in the matters of the budget. We will face everything. No one here can say that there has been secrecy or anything. No, in the worst moments, we have informed it to the country. President Maduro informed it to the country what it meant, the fall of 99% of our income in currencies, foreign currencies, and we year the year 2026 with 19 trimesters of economic growth, leading the growth in Latin America, and with the efforts of Venezuelan men and women, with the productive union, the communal and of the industrial union, of the farmers, of the fishermen, and that route we're going to consolidate the economic program is the program of President Nicolás Maduro that we're going to consolidate in this year 2026. He gave it the name of the Admirable Challenge 2026. For him and for us, there's also a challenge, an Admirable Challenge 2026. And I am very pleased, Vice President, see that the consultations of popular power, where were they directed? They were mainly directed to water, education, sports, housing, without taking into account the consultations of the youth. The youth presented their projects in the year 2025 and has been an important actor in the execution of those projects, and for us to be able to see that priority areas are attended, it seems to us extraordinary. So congratulations to the popular power and congratulations to the local and regional and national executive, because we have been able to do an extraordinary process of coordination between all of us. Well, I want to announce that the increase, at least of 37% of the resources for the year 2026, is maintained its distribution in the same way as it was done in the year 2025. A percentage of 53% to popular power, 29% for the governations, and 15% for the mayor offices, and a 3% to the institutional strengthening. But I want to also tell you that we have been working with the team to see what process of support can happen in some mayor offices of the country, because too much balance between some capitals, for example, and some mayor offices of the interior of the country. The Federal Council of Government and the Intergovernment Fund must have as an objective to correct the imbalances, and we're going to do interventions to right those imbalances, because it is necessary. The mayors know what I am speaking about, and had been working on it, and the president approved it last year. I want to also inform that the first popular consultation of this year will be done on March the 8th, Women's Day, Almond Day, Women's Day, for us to go with the spirit of our women, of our warriors, for us to go to the popular consultations, and the projects will be directed between transformation number 1, which is the economical transformation in productive projects, and transformation number 2, which is human city in infrastructure, works, and services. They will be able to select projects between those two transformations. Likewise, I want to inform that this month we will be doing the second Obraton. From October, we had delivered 20,800 works. This month we will also give other 20,000 that are ready for our people. So governors, I invite you to work jointly for Venezuela, and I invite you to work for the Venezuelan people, and I invite you to work for the peace and the tranquility, economical, political, and social of our homeland, for them to see us as what we are, a power in exercise, in action, for the highest values of our republic, and for the most sacred, that must be the happiness of the Venezuelan people. In representation of the ministers will be Vice President Jorge Marquez and the Minister Jeremy Gutierrez, to do an emphasis on the matters of health that our people have asked. For the governors, it will be the Governor of Guayana Esequiba, Governor of Carabobo, and the Governor of the State of Cojedes. For the mayors will be the Mayor of Caracas, Carmen Teresa Melendez, and the Mayor of Chacao, Gustavo Duque, and the Mayor of Barcelona, Suhey Herrera. So I ask that this same week the Secretary of the Federal Council of Government be installed, and now I say goodbye with a video of the balance of the year 2025 of this council. Thank you. In 2025, Venezuela marked a historical move.
Desde sus bases, demostrando que la fuerza transformadora reside en un pueblo organizado y decidido. A través de 6 consultas populares nacionales que fueron las voces de millones,
that were the voices of millions who decided the destiny of the resources. They set these strategical priorities to improve daily life. The result was an historical investment leading to 35,037 projects financed in each of the country, and action and focus in the recovery of public services and the social well-being, and the pushing of activities that dynamite the communal economy. The consolidation of 5,336 communes and communal circuits confirm that when the people are organized, these solutions are turned into a reality. In perfect sentence, governances and mayor offices were important executing and accompanying works in all the territory. Today, in 2026, the march is unstoppable. With an unbreakable will, we continue moving forward by the hand of these 7 transformations and maintaining absolute support to the organized people, the institutions, and the local governments. We strengthen day by day a full democracy that is direct and of participation. Together, we continue building a Venezuela that grows with its own effort.
We were live to Venezuela, to the working session of the First Federal Council of the Government, and in this space, Acting President Delcy Rodriguez highlighted the dignity of President Nicolás Maduro and Cilia Flores, and also referred to a phone conversation she held with Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel, who on behalf of the island sent his condolences to the families of the victims of the battle of January 3rd, daughters and sons of the great homeland, she said. And with this information, we begin with our news brief from the south. We jump right away